Stop calling it confusion, because when someone can ignore you for hours, sometimes even days, and then respond at the exact moment you begin to pull away, that behavior isn't random, it isn't accidental, and it definitely isn't confusion. It's timing. And timing like that, repeated over and over again, usually has a purpose. You're focused on what they say. I don't know what I want. I'm just not ready. But words are easy to manipulate because they don't require consistency. Patterns do. And if you look closely, their pattern is consistent even if their words are not. They disappear, they withdraw, they go silent, and then they return, right before you let go. Not too early, not too late. Exactly when your attention begins to fade. That's not uncertainty, that's control. If you break their behavior down step by step, a clear sequence appears. They give you attention and you relax. They pull away and you start to overthink. They return and you feel relief. That relief feels stronger than the original attention because it comes after discomfort. Over time, your brain starts associating that person not with connection, but with emotional resolution. They become the thing that makes the discomfort stop. Now pause and think. Why does the cycle restart exactly when you begin to move on? Why do they never fully lose you, but never fully choose you either? Why does their timing always match your withdrawal? Because your attention only becomes valuable again when it starts to disappear. Think about what actually happens in real time. You check your phone. Nothing. Minutes pass, then hours. You replay conversations. You question yourself. You start detaching. You tell yourself, "This time, I am done." And you mean it. Then suddenly, a message appears. Short, casual, almost effortless. And instantly, everything resets. Not because they changed, but because your brain just got rewarded. This isn't emotional confusion. This is behavioral conditioning. Your brain is being trained through a pattern called intermittent reinforcement, where rewards are delivered unpredictably instead of consistently. And unpredictable rewards create stronger attachment than consistent ones ever could. There's a reason this works. If rewards were constant, your brain would adapt quickly and lose interest. But when rewards are uncertain, your brain stays engaged, constantly anticipating the next possible outcome. That anticipation is what keeps you hooked. Think about this carefully. If that same person treated you well every single day, consistently, predictably, without distance or confusion, would you feel this level of emotional intensity? Or would you feel calm? Because stability doesn't create obsession, it creates peace. And peace isn't addictive. At some point, something shifts. You stop reacting to what they do and start reacting to what might happen. You anticipate the message. You imagine their return. You replay scenarios in your head, and your brain begins rewarding you before anything even happens. Now the control is deeper. They're not just influencing your reactions. They're shaping your thoughts. You check your phone without realizing it. You think about them at random moments. You feel something missing, even when nothing has actually happened. That's not connection, that's conditioning. Then something even more subtle begins to happen. Your standards start to shift. What once felt like the bare minimum now feels acceptable. What once felt unacceptable now feels understandable. A delayed reply feels normal. Inconsistent attention feels reasonable. Small effort feels meaningful. Not because those things changed, but because your perception did. This is how conditioning reshapes you. It doesn't just change your behavior, it changes what you tolerate. Over time, your baseline lowers without you noticing. And once your baseline changes, the cycle becomes easier to maintain because you no longer expect consistency. At that point, the entire dynamic becomes mechanical. Uncertainty creates anxiety. Attention provides relief. And your brain becomes dependent on that relief. So your focus shifts. You stop asking, "Do they actually care about me?" and start asking, "When will they come back?" That shift is where control is lost. Now look at it from their perspective. They don't need to fully choose you. They don't want to fully lose you either. They just need to keep you in between. Available, responsive, emotionally invested. but not secure. To maintain that position, clarity must be avoided, because clarity ends uncertainty, and uncertainty is what keeps you engaged. So instead of giving you clear answers, they give you just enough interaction to keep the cycle active. Enough to keep you attached, not enough to give you stability, because stability ends the game, and uncertainty keeps it going. Be honest. How many times have you said, "This is the last time"? How many times have you decided not to respond, and then responded anyway? That's not weakness. That's conditioning working exactly as intended. Because by the time you try to leave, your brain isn't responding logically anymore. It's responding to a pattern it is already adapted to. So the real question becomes, what happens if you stop participating? No message, no reaction, no emotional engagement, not as a tactic, but as a break in the pattern. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. Your brain will expect something to happen. It will look for the reward. It will anticipate the return. But when nothing happens, the cycle begins to weaken. Because conditioning only works when the pattern is completed. And every time you respond, you complete it. This time, you don't. And when they come back, watch carefully. Because it won't be with clarity. It won't be with commitment. It will be with just enough to restart everything again. That's how you recognize the pattern for what it is. You don't break this by understanding them better. You break it by changing your role in the system. No reaction to inconsistency. No reward for absence. No emotional spikes. That's when the system collapses. So stop asking why they're confused. Start asking why the pattern is so consistent. Because confusion is random. This is structured. It has timing. It has repetition. It has predictable outcomes. And anything that predictable is not accidental. And the moment you truly see it, clearly, without justifying it, it stops working on you. Because awareness breaks conditioning. And once that happens, you don't go back.